Wow. So we just came from not Microsoft, EA's press conference.
Wow.
Number 2 for the day. It was a good press conference. It closed with Mirror's Edge. That was obviously everybody was expecting to see it. Looks like a prequel.
Yeah, Faith is looking a little bit younger in the trailer. She's getting her tattoos put on.
Definitely getting her tats on.
The world looks the same. Like it's like the bright colors on the wall. She's wall running, punching guys in the face, breaking their necks, like not using guns to shoot
all the
them.
things that Faith does. And of course, people were like, are they going to make this third person? Are they going to make this not Mirror's Edge? But it looks totally like Mirror's Edge.
I mean, I doubt that was actual gameplay, but all the stuff that was supposed to simulate gameplay, first-person perspective.
I would say there was a little gameplay in there. When they were showing her walking down that hall and just punching some dudes in the face, having like their face guards bust apart, that
could be.
Probably gameplay. But it definitely looked super crisp.
No word on release date. It'll be done when it's ready, they said.
And it was just like 15 minutes worth of, or 15 seconds probably, maybe 30 seconds.
Yeah, but it had been something they'd been teasing for like 5 years now, ever since the first one came out in 2008, and people were like, so are you going to ever make a sequel? And they've been working on Battlefield so much.
Right. Oh, absolutely. I mean, DICE is basically just, making that Frostbite engine, I'm sure, was taking up a lot of their resources. And then, 2 Battlefields in the row. Speaking of Battlefield.
Well, speaking of Battlefront.
Oh.
Yes, Battlefront. Star Wars Battlefront got announced too.
Yes, it did.
From DICE, which when that trailer started,
it's not like the core DICE studio, right? It's what Danger Close became.
They become LA DICE.
So the guys who made Medal of Honor.
Yeah, but that trailer opened with just, it was...
I mean, are we ready to call it a trailer?
Right,
it was more of just like a 5-second, hey, look, not a TIE fighter,
Well, so it was all this ice stuff, and like, we were like, oh, is this
Hoth?
Hoth? And the Greg, super Star Wars fan, was like, don't get my hopes up, man. It's not Hoth. It's not. And then we see like red flash, like that sure looks like a laser from Star Wars. And then a freaking snow speeder. What are those things called?
Snowspeeder. That sounds right.
Crashes.
We're so gonna get flamed for this.
It's like wham!
These games radar. It's a snow speeder. Anyway, that looked awesome. We have literally 0 things to go off of.
But it is Battlefront.
It is Battlefront. Battlefield, what people were hopefully expecting was the multiplayer. We finally got to look at the multiplayer.
Finally, because this is something that everybody who loves Battlefield wants to see.
Yeah, totally. And, I mean, this is what they come to Battlefield for.
Not only did they show, they didn't just show one person playing it on stage. They showed 64 people playing it on stage.
They brought out a veritable boys' choir of people to play Battlefield
I'm just imagining, the setup that went into hooking up 64 PCs right up in the backstage. But it was really, really awesome to see, because not only was there a much bigger emphasis on environmental destruction compared to Battlefield 3, because, man, that is that series thing, right? Like, environmental destruction, you can blow up buildings. Yep. And in Battlefield 3, that was very lacking. Like, it was there, but very minor.
And in this trailer, they show a
skyscraper.
That,
while you're in it. So here, it was amazing to me that your squad runs in, gets in an elevator, pushes a button, rides it up to the top of the skyscraper. Right. And then we were all...
achieves an objective of some kind. They capture a point. And at some point, the enemy, the counter wave comes in, and they're just kind of like mowing them down. And then did they set a charge on the building? Why
I don't know,
but
they had
the tanks were shooting the base of it.
See.
And none of us expected that. We were like, is it really going to knock down the building?
Are they going to knock down a skyscraper? Come on.
Come on.
Sure as shit.
But they were like, all right, we got our point. Fucking jump.
And they did jump out of the window, parachute to safety, and then look up, and the skyscraper just collapses.
Yeah. I mean, they kind of outdid, like, Uncharted 2's big thing was that building collapsing during this was kind of, that times 2.
Yeah, and you could take an elevator inside the building, like functioning elevators to get to the top of the building.
That's one of those nerdy things that you geek out about. Like
still, because that's not a thing you normally do.
That's true. Last time we got a good elevator
and
was Mass Effect.
And they showed some of the boat battles. Those look amazing. Jeez. That whole game looks nuts.
No, yeah, I am definitely super excited.
And the commander mode that they brought back.
Right, so that seemed to be a tablet kind of.
Yeah, because in Battlefield 2, one player could be the commander and call out objectives and things. And it's kind of like when you're doing squad objectives in the Battlefield games. You're like, attack objective A, and you get extra points for doing that. But now one person can be dedicated to setting markers. And assuming you can somehow manage to get 31 other people on your team to listen to you,
right.
It's a really cool way to play.
Yeah, and it's a good question as to whether they will be able to get that 64 player or the 32 per team on consoles as well.
I really, really hope so, because that's
the next gen experience.
A
That's what I want.
crazy Battlefield experience to be playing with 64 people on a map. It's really nuts.
Well, and if they can handle 60 frames per second as well on next gen consoles.
Definitely. And
they said it was a 60 frames game, 60 FPS game, so that's huge. Because that's been like a huge divide between the Call of Duty and Battlefield crowd. One saying 30 frames is fine, while the Call of Duty guys are like, no, it's way too slow. So now everybody will have that same footing. It's really cool.
Yeah, totally. And there is some reason to believe that Microsoft could get, or at least probably Sony as well, if it's going to be on Microsoft. But Microsoft has said, we're going to have like 100,000
There's no
servers
doubt in my mind that we're going to have 64 player on consoles, because the reason that wasn't before was a hardware issue with the current consoles. Now that's no longer the problem. So I totally expect to see 64 player on console, which is awesome. Can't wait for it.
As do I. The other big shooter from EA Respawn's Titanfall. We already saw it during the Microsoft press conference. We didn't get much new here.
No, just a few little more details of them talking about how the Titans or the mech suits are supposed to be a lot more faster than what you're used to seeing from mechs, and that like the Titan versus Titan battles are going to be amazing, and it was a lot of the same shots you saw before, but you got to, I guess, think about it a little more.
I found it interesting too, some of the ways in which they were wording their presentation. It sounded like, because they kept saying, we're trying to make this multiplayer stuff look like the set piece kind of things you'd expect from a single player game. So I'm wondering if it's like a mostly only multiplayer game.
It sounds like. I mean, it kind of makes sense from the Respawn guys, formerly the Infinity Ward guys, because their bread and butter was online multiplayer. Like they brought Call of Duty into its status with Modern Warfare's multiplayer. So it makes sense to me that they would just want to double down on making the best kind of multiplayer shooter out there.
Yeah.
So that
absolutely.
Totally makes sense.
I mean, it looks great, and I love the fast-paced, like super fast into a mech, super fast out of it. It looked kind of just all over the place. So that was really cool. Really excited to see more of that.
All right, no more shooters. Dragon Age. Tell me.
Dragon
Inquisition.
Age 3. Inquisition. I mean,
is it Dragon Age 3 or is it
it's
just
Dragon Age 3 subtitled Inquisition?
Okay, because I think it. Anyway.
Anyways, we don't know a whole lot about it just yet. They were promising like an open world, lots of terrible things going on, and you're the only one that can save it. We didn't see any gameplay in the trailer. It was just a CG trailer. I mean, what else?
What else?
What else could be said?
Did they? I missed it. Did they say whether we'd see more of it on the show floor? Or?
No, they said it's a fall 2014 game.
Yeah, that's a ways out.
So it's pretty far out.
We'll see that E3 2014.
I mean, I guess it's nice that they're spending a lot of time on it because.
Well, those games are so big that you'd expect them to.
That was the problem with Dragon Age 2. It's like, all right, we're going to get this out in 18 months, so it's going to be like one level big. And there you go. So hopefully that means that I don't know. It's one of those cases where it's like I really want it out, but if you're going to make an actual good game this time,
game needs the time.
No, totally. What else we saw? Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare.
Oh my god, that introduction was so awesome because it was like setting it up almost like the Battlefield intro. It's like dur, 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 and then there were just a bunch of plants and zombies.
Third-person shooter,
4-player co-op shooter.
Yeah.
And it looked amazing too.
Yeah, it looked just gorgeous.
Yeah, exactly.
Like running on Frostbite 3, just like the other ones. And but it still had all the units. Like it looked like everyone it's a horde kind of game too.
Right.
Yeah. You're just fighting off waves, but it made bosses out of what were like just slightly uncommon zombie types, like Disco Zombie and the Gargantuan one.
Yeah, you definitely had
Light Post.
You definitely had that sense of humor kind of coming out, like the casual game sense of humor.
And like using I saw like you could create turrets to surround you and stuff. It just It looked like the gameplay was there and the humor was there.
Yeah.
And it was pretty. That
Yeah,
was
it
a
was
pretty
very,
game.
very, very pretty.
Very surprising. And then, of course, they closed out, PopCap closed out with Peggle 2, it's coming this year.
And practically cartwheeled off stage while Rainbow shot out. Oh my
So
god.
who knows what's happening there, but Peggle 2.
What better way to introduce that, though?
I'll play some fucking Peggle 2. Why not? Like,
Yeah.
that's a good game.
Yeah.
We also got, they spent a good amount of time on the sports stuff.
Oh, yeah.
NBA Live is ostensibly coming back for real this time.
They actually announced it this time, so
Yeah, well, I mean, they've been announcing it for years
And of
and
course-
then canceling it day of.
And,
so.
and Bruce Buffer took the stage for UFC.
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 Dana White was up there, I
Yeah.
think. Like, from all time, one thing all races, nationalities, and creeds can agree on is hitting each other in the face and having crowds watch it.
It's the best.
It's the best.
So it seemed like their big addition is going to be like body deformation.
Well, that was kind of in Undisputed 3, where if you got
Yeah.
punched enough times in certain areas, your body would turn red or your
deform.
your legs would get a little bit messed up.
But this one was showing like here's someone's like spine twisting a different
Yeah.
way,
Ah,
chin
that's,
like moving
that
the
sounds
wrong
painful.
way.
That is horrifying. We also saw trailers for Madden and FIFA, and those look like pretty Madden and pretty FIFA. I'm sure they've got a lot going on under the hood.
Oh,
Though.
it is a big deal that Live is only next gen, unlike
Yeah.
FIFA and Madden.
That's
which are
very true.
cross-gen.
Yeah.
As is EA, UFC, I think is only next gen as well.
Right. And then we also saw, they'd already announced this, but the Need for Speed Rivals game.
Oh, yeah.
Which
Yeah.
is being made by a new studio, Ghost Games or something
With
like
Criterion.
With
Yeah.
Criterion,
Those
of
two
course.
Criterion, yeah.
that.
It certainly looked pretty.
It certainly looked pretty. It kind of has that same aesthetic that a lot of the Need for Speed games have, the Criterion developed Need for Speed games have had. And I'd imagine that they will continue in the future.
And that's a cross-gen one in November as well.
Right.
Current and next.
Trying to think
Am I
if there's
forgetting anything? Is
I
that
don't think
it?
so.
Are we?
It's about covered it, I think.
I think that might be it.
Yeah. But
I
what a
mean,
show.
EA had a good show.
Yeah.
EA. I mean, I was saying for me, maybe personally, it lulled there in the middle with the whole sports bent. But
You didn't like the basketball rap?
I mean, there was a. How would you even describe
Well, also
that?
then
It was
Drake
just like.
comes out and Drake's like, I'm Drake and I like FIFA, but I'm not just any person that likes FIFA. And then here's the FIFA guy. And he
Right.
steps off stage.
Nope,
Like,
you are a superstar that
at
likes
least
FIFA.
Yeah,
At least that other guy raps. Like, Drake didn't
well, it
even
was more of
rap.
like a slam poetry kind of
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
thing.
Release.
I don't even know.
That's what he
I don't
kept
even
saying.
know.
Release.
Return.
Return.
It was very epic, I guess.
Sure.
So other than that, I pretty good. I'm looking forward to seeing
Yeah,
if
we got-
Ubisoft can match this. They're the next one we'll have.
Ubisoft followed up by Sony.
And then Sony will
Later
close
this
it out
evening.
today.
well, because EA kind of got undermined, like Titanfall, Battlefield, that
Yeah.
was already at the Microsoft event. While meanwhile, Ubisoft has been absent so far today. I feel like I'm now
We'll see
talking
them at
like
Sony.
on a halftime show on an.
I mean, we
yeah.
kind
Yeah.
of are. We kind
Ubisoft hasn't shown up yet, but let's see in the second half what's going to go down.
No, totally. Anyway, I think that's all we got to say on EA Sports. Check the website because we have all of the trailers and all the gameplay we saw we wrote up about, and we will continue to update those stories as the week progresses. I'm excited. It's Monday. We still got a lot to do. So thank you for tuning in, everyone, and stay tuned. A couple hours, we'll have another one of these.